Hello everyone, Blitz here. After rewatching a lot of Ninjago, I noticed a lot of things in Ninjago that makes no sense at all. You can say that I'm nitpicking, but if you really pay attention and think about it, it really makes no sense. And the little things add up and become the problem. I'll be going over the pilots, season 1 to 15/16 depends on how you see the island and Seabound and crystallize. I'm finding moments that make no sense, has no explanation behind them. I won't be including any seasons of Dragon's Horizons since they set up a lot of messy things and mysteries for it. Anyway, I think I'm the only one that's doing this since no one else would bring it up. And I'll try to give a half-baked explanation about these things. On my villain ranking, I said that Nauticon was an idea to appear and crystallize, and the creators decided not to because it would be difficult to explain his return. And in my opinion, that they should have done it anyway, since a lot of things makes no sense at all in the show. And this video would be a good way to somewhat explain it. In the pilots, the only thing that makes no sense is why does Rue need the map to the golden weapons, since he was the one who hid them in the first place? And how did he get the dragons to guard them? I could say due to his age, he doesn't remember, the dementia is kicking in, and probably wants to keep it away from Samukai and Garmadon from getting it first. But that doesn't really explain the dragons. And how does Samukai knows that the map is at the blacksmith shop in the first place? Did someone told him about it? Did someone told him about the location where it was? In the first season, there are a few things that makes no sense. Why is there a map of all the Serpentine's tombs stuck in a block of ice in the Hypnoprised tomb? There would be no way that the Serpentine should know where all the other tombs are located. They were all hypnotized by the sacred flutes and locked away in tombs in random places in Ninjago, and only can be opened from the outside. Is one of these snakes an archaeologist and mapped out the tombs and locations before getting locked away? Also, or some random person left it in there, and none of the snakes have noticed it? And how does all tombs have enough food for them to survive for 40 years, if all but one tribe have survived? Why was the Constricti locked away in a mountain made of rocks if they can dig right through it? Why not make the tomb out of something they cannot dig through? I'm going to mention this in a different video also. The 17 has always been inconsistent and always rewritten within this show. Another thing makes no sense in this season. How did the Destiny's Bounty ended up in this desert? At the last location, the crew was looking for the Dark Island. Maybe that the desert was an ocean before it dried up. Well, the crew did find the Dark Island, but sunk, and the ocean magically teleported to this desert. I don't know, I'm making stuff up on this comment. The city of Ouroboros makes no sense. I have no problem with it magically disappearing under the sand and reemerging from a switch. The problem I have is the battle arena. The Great Devourer is mummified underneath the city. How did it get there? But the other thing is, when the ninja was fighting Pythor and the mysterious samurai, there was a moment where Pythor started to flip the arena on them, making them fall in. How deep is the pit underneath? Is there an extra layer to keep the arena spinning and separate from the mummified Devourer's remains until it is awakened from the Fang Blades? Here is a diagram of the situation. I know I'm a master artist here. Okay, jokes aside. How does this really work? I'm not going to talk about the time that Jay used wind power. The thing in Season 2 that makes no sense is how Garmadon doesn't know anything about the Overlord. His father should have told him about the Overlord. Stories about the Overlord. Maybe Garmadon never paid attention to those stories. Another thing that makes no sense is that Cole touched the Mega Weapon and didn't disintegrate. The weapon is supposed to be all-powerful. If anyone touches it, they are erased. Maybe Cole's is built different. I'm not going to talk about Zane being turned into a kid because he's an android, and androids don't dream. The thing in Season 3 that makes no sense is how the 17 opened the Stone Warrior's tomb when they were trapped in there. Did someone open it for them? I'd like to know something. Can the Technoblades really destroy the Overlord? That's what it says in the show. The Overlord possesses technology and becomes a virus. When all the Technoblades or just any gets in contact with the Overlord virus, they can delete him, but they also say that the Overlord can't really be destroyed because he's part of the balance of Ninjago. So I am just confused now. And again, this has nothing to do with the YouTuber Technoblade. This was before he was famous, okay? Don't get that confused. And don't bring him up. I'm being respectful here. I miss him too, okay? There's a few things in season 4 that makes no sense. How did Chen get all this inconsistency stuff? He was banished to an island after allying himself with the Serpentine. He's not allowed back to Ninjago, is he? Did he manage to find a way back to Ninjago so he can open his noodle business and get people to join his cult? Did he find all the Anaconda weapons, bones, trophies, scales, and more stuff lying on the ground after the war? Why would ruin Gaminon let that stuff lay around? And how does Chen not know Pythor is alive and in prison? Pythor's actions and presence should be all known and documented to the public. Pythor was there when the Overlord was destroying the city, and the location to the Anaconda tomb shouldn't be that hard to find. How does the spell work if it needed all the elemental powers to work? The Elemental Master of Water wasn't activated yet. Elemental Masters of Time were missing, and Master of Wind was in a different realm. Maybe the spell needed a certain amount of powers to actually work. There's a few things in Season 5 that doesn't make sense. How did the ninja met Ronin? They know him from the video game that is not canon. This is something they never explain in the show. And this must have happened between Seasons 4 and 5, or 3 and 4, or possibly between 2 and 3. I would like to see how they met him. Another thing that makes no sense is the ninja losing their powers when Lloyd got possessed. All the other ninja lost their powers because it was connected to him. The writers only did this to knock the ninja down a bit because they were getting too overpowered. But in Season 6, when Lloyd got trapped in the Jin Blade, Jay's powers were not affected or gone. I don't know how to explain this. How does the realm travel work in this world? You don't need the realm crystal to travel that much. There's this portal to Cloud Kingdom through the clouds. You can get to the underworld through the Fire Temple, which is probably gone by now. In all the other realms, through Traveler's Tea and Magic is another way. Also, is there other portals to other worlds in Ninjago? If the realm crystal doesn't matter that much, I know it was used to cross the boundaries for the preeminent. I'm just talking about other ways to travel the realms. This has nothing to do with the merge. Another thing makes no sense is the deep stone suits. Ghosts can't possess anything or anyone wearing it. It's made from a material from the deepest part of the ocean. How can Moro possess Lloyd when Lloyd is wearing the suit? Maybe Moro is just built different. There was a scene in the season where Kai got hit with a ghost arrow by the Soul Archer, but didn't turn into a ghost, and was surprised in relief. Around the finale of the season, he hid underwater so he wouldn't get shot by the Archer, even though he's wearing the suit and should know he won't get turned into a ghost. There's a couple of things in Season 6 that makes no sense. How does the Jin Blade actually work? If you need to wish someone into the blade, when you can distract them with it to put them inside of it? Maybe it gets stronger with wishes, who knows. There's one thing I don't think people mention when talking about Season 6 is how Nautocon's crew is still alive. I can understand how Nautocon is still alive. Nautocon was trapped in the teapot for 200 years and his crew was scattered throughout different realms. They should all be dead or very, very old because most of them are human. Is time different in the other realms? Or is it some kind of magic that's keeping them alive in their usual age? And the other thing is, how did Cole survive the shipwreck? He was a ghost in Season 6, and ghosts can't touch water. The ship that the ninja was using got caught in a storm and wrecked in the storm, and they got stranded on an island. Cole shouldn't be alive. And I don't really have anything but David departed. In Season 7, there isn't a whole lot of things that don't make sense that I can think of. One question I like to ask, did Kai and Mia ever file a missing person report for their parents' disappearance or anyone close to them? Another thing is, how is the Ninjago City's museum connects to the sewers in a swamp when it's smack dab in the middle of the city? Unless that room of Crux is underground that connects to the sewers, Ninjago City has always been inconsistent. In Season 8, Harumi has no reason to be a villain. She has every right to be mad at the ninja for not saving her parents, but she has to know that Pythor was the one responsible for the Great Devourer. His actions has to be all known to the public and documented. And I already said this with the Season 4 stuff already. Alright, I'm going to be talking about the face changes. Now this was around 2017 and 2018 when the movie came out. I already said this before, I think the movie is fine, okay at best. They gave the ninja new designs for the movie, and the movie failed in changes and changes carried over to the show. This is the biggest controversy Ninjago ever had. Some people like the change, a lot of people hate the change and stopped watching the show. And there are some people who just didn't care about the changes and just liked Ninjago. When season 8 aired, it still followed the original continuity from the previous seasons, and people were relieved. And they kind of never explained the change. And there was a meta joke between Jay and Cole that since Wu time traveled, he must have changed something to alter the present. That is something people did believe, but co-creator Tommy Andreas explained that wasn't the reason, and that was just a joke line in the show. I think the actual reason for the face changes is just because the ninja grew up and just changed over time. And for the sets, the original face prints for the minifigures retired. Another thing, how did Harumi knew the baby was Wu, and how did she manage to find him? I got no explanation for this one. The last thing that makes no sense is the Oni Mask resurrection. When Harumi resurrected the evil version of Garmadon from the departed realm, when Garmadon died, he was good. Does that mean there are two versions of Garmadon in the departed realm? And a side note I like to add, I think it's time for them to bring back the good version of Garmadon. I'm getting tired of the evil version. There isn't anything I can think of in Season 9 that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to talk about the first realm, only Ninjago. They did a decent job of compacting the season only in the city in the first realm of Season 9. And we all know that the city is always inconsistent. In Season 10, the only thing that makes no sense is how can anyone touch the golden armor when touching the golden weapons will kill you? I'm guessing the armor was weakened. In Season 11, I want to know who's running the Museum of Ninjago now, and why they don't have a security system. This one is just me nitpicking. Can the scrolls of Forbidden Spinjitzu really corrupt someone? Because they seemed fine when the ninja were holding the scrolls. Zane didn't get corrupted by the scroll. He got corrupted by his reboot mainframe got interrupted. But I guess power does corrupt some people. How did Zane go back in time in the Netherrealm? Does Aspera know time travel magic? Or was it the scroll? I got nothing for Prime Empire Season 12, since video games are different worlds. Except Pixel and the Ninja, except for Kai, needs to stop disrespecting my man Fujidev. Season 13, Master of the Mountain, there isn't anything I can think of that doesn't make any sense. And I want to know where Shintaro is located in Ninjago. I'll just check the wiki. Alright, let's talk about the island. A lot of people in the Ninjago community, including me, consider the island as a season, as in Season 14, and the others don't think so. It was said it was a special, a prelude to Seabound, but it's episodic. They made it like a season. We all know Day of the Departed is a 40-minute special. If they wanted to make the island a special, make it a special. No intros and credits. Not episode by episode, but a 40-minute special. This is what confuses fans. For Season 14/15, Seabound, there isn't anything I can think of, but I think Calamar, the main villain of the season, doesn't need to be a villain. No one forced the Molopians to live under the sea. Ninjago didn't even existed when the first Ninjutsu Master showed up in the realm, soon to be Ninjago. The first Ninjutsu Master helped defeat Majira, and gave the amulets to each of the islanders and the Molopians. They choose to live under the sea. Calamar could have simply visited the surface world and walked around, and none of the citizens would have batted an eye, since the citizens has to be used to all the servants and crazy things that happen all the time in the city. And last, Season 15/16 crystallized. There isn't anything I can think of other than Harumi being dumb, or is that the ninja needs to ask for permission to get something when Cyrus holds onto anything for them, and they can ask him anytime to get something. That is everything I found in every Ninjago season that made no sense. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments again. And again, I'm not adding any seasons of Dragon's Risings. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later.